You're going to be a dentist, but you should have the best emergency medical skills to know. When there isn't a doctor around for miles and they're just too swamped with other patients in need to help you and your family in the case of a disaster, catastrophe, or emergency.
Mm.
This is not a
Oh,
question.
you
Okay. Yeah, I wrote this. Okay, all right, all right. Okay, all right. Go ahead.
in every thought experiment, every emergency scenario, the doctor is always going to be in the high demand. In a
Oh,
catastrophe,
oh, time out, time out. Remember, we're tricking brains. It's that we'll go sentence by sentence, and then
right?
reading becomes kind of like talking.
Okay.
All right. In a catastrophe, there will only be so many people with medical training and a whole lot more people in need of medical care.
Not only do you need the skills and overall understanding of how human body functions,
But also, but you.
but you also need to have your checklist and medical inventory prepared and planned, ready to go in any emergency, because injuries and life-threatening scenarios can happen in a split second.
Oh, good reading. Okay, all right. In disasters, supply chains get disrupted. Toilet paper and baby formula randomly become scarce, and you will never know if the medicine for your health or care of your loved ones will be difficult to obtain. All right, I gotta fix this. Let me see here. I gotta fix this. I gotta break this up. What happens? What do you do? What do you do if there isn't a doctor around for miles? Um, what do you do if they're just too swamped with other patients? Yeah, this is gonna be way clearer. Okay, here. When your family needs medical care most, and in the case of a disaster or emergency, what do you do? Okay, all right. That's a lot better than what was there before, I think, because I was trying to read it and go like, it was hard to understand, right? Before.
No, not that much, but
Oh,
it's better.
it's better now. Okay, all right. Yeah. So like, it's not just Thai grammar, it's English grammar too, right? So one common problem I've run across is my sentences are just too long, right? And yeah, we'll take a little side point here. This sentence has 5 words. I'm pretty sure have I shared this with you before?
Maybe no.
No? Oh, okay. All right. Here we go. This sentence has 5 words. Here are 5 more. 5 word sentences are fine, but several together become monotonous. Listen to what is happening. The writing is getting boring. The sound of it drones. It's like a stuck record. The ear demands some variety. Now listen. I vary the sentence strength and I create music. Sentence length and I create music. Music. The writing sings. It has a pleasant rhythm, a lilt to harmony. I use short sentences and I use sentences of medium length. And sometimes, when I am certain the reader is rested, I will engage him with a sentence of considerable length, a sentence that burns with energy and builds with all the impetus of a crescendo, and the roll of the drums, and the crash of the cymbals, sounds that say, listen to this, it is important. So write with a combination of short, medium, and long sentences. Create a sound that pleases the reader's ear. Don't write just words. Don't just write words. Write music. All right, cool.
Ooh, right music.
Yeah, it's cool. All right. And so I kind of like how it gets a little bit longer here, right? So let's go with the reread real fast. What do you do if a doctor isn't around? Oh, okay. All right, I gotta fix this. If a doctor isn't around. If a doctor isn't around for miles. What do you do if they're just too swamped with other patients? When your family needs medical care most in the case of a disaster, catastrophe, or emergency, what do you do? Okay, all right, that's better. Sounds a little bit more like music, just a little bit. Okay, all right, last sentence here. I think we can skip that. Okay, this is important for you, all right? Okay, medical emergencies that require immediate attention. This is like kind of the most complete list that I could make based on research. It's where most of the stuff are always stopped at like 10, you know? So I tried to look at like all the lists, right? And then make like a more comprehensive list. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So we have here heart attack or cardiac arrest. Do you know the difference between these?
Heart attack is like the symptoms that happen with your heart, like your heart just stop breathing or something, like maybe like the feeling that chopped you, like.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Okay.
But
Okay.
like,
Okay. Mhm.
but the cardiac arrest is when like you stop breathing.
Oh, so breathing is a key factor.
Yeah. When the heart attack, like maybe you can
That
say
would be
like
probably good to include here. Okay. All right. Hold on here.
it's
So,
like
uh,
hmm, duh, duh, duh.
oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that either. Okay, we should add that here. Okay, all right, here. Cardiac arrest is a bioelectrical electrical problem. Heart attack.
I feel like mostly people like who have got like the cardiac arrest is like in more danger. Like it's both are like dangerous too, like the heart attack and the cardiac arrest. But when you got like cardiac arrest, you won't have like the symptom before. Like maybe you can walk outside.
You got it. Yeah, you knew before me. Yeah, I learned this stuff yesterday. Okay, so yeah, that's right. You're hitting all the key points now, right? So like the way I translated it in my brain before we talked today was the difference is that heart attack it's a circulatory issue, but I didn't say that in my brain. It was that there's your circulation and there's blood clots and heart disease, and it's like a pump problem, like a piping
Yeah.
problem, right? And that would be a life of heart disease, right? Or something connected or attributed to it. Cardiac arrest, where you said more dangerous, you were like trying to say it's not necessarily more dangerous. I would say it's more like it feels more like an emergency is
Yeah,
the way that
because
I would
you
call it.
don't know what will gonna happen. Like maybe you just walk out of your home and you got like the cardiac arrest.
Yeah,
But
like what happened, or like somebody gets electrocuted.
yeah, and about like the heart attack, even though like you will have like some weird symptom, like maybe you can breathe, but not that flow. You got your heart age, something like that.
Yeah.
But
Oh
almost
man,
like,
there is a difference here. Holy moly.
yeah,
That's okay. Here's something that's kind of very interesting, right? Is that based on this right here, you're not supposed to do CPR to someone who has a heart attack. You're supposed to give them nitroglycerin, but it's supposed to be their nitroglycerin. And then if you don't have that, then you have aspirin, right? But then if somebody has cardiac arrest, you're supposed to go with CPR. That's pretty important, right?
yeah.
Okay,
Maybe like
I
doing
think I got a quote
CPR,
here too.
like
Huh?
doing CPR is doing going like to do in the right way, because like you need to in like the right position, because it will get more worse if you like just do it as like the series or like the movie teach you.
Yeah, like it's just the thing that I find relevant about all of this stuff is that what you do right after stuff happens, emergencies, all of that is really a big, huge factor in the quality of life of the person after a really serious emergency happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. And you think about all the injuries, even from like breaking a bone, right? Shock, stroke, heart attack, drowning. You're just not getting enough oxygen and for some random reason, like everything you do in the next like few minutes after that happens is really big. Fair?
Mm. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think like this topic should be in our like student books. Like it
Yeah.
should, but
It should be
in
part of
Thai,
bio. Yeah. Like I would say
we're
that.
not like, that serious in learning about that. Because
Yeah.
like in some school or teach like my old school teach me, but like in terminal we're not. They're just like teach like the theories.
Yeah. Dude, I gotta add this stuff about the heart attack here. I don't really want to write it because I think the diagram is better. Okay. So
Okay.
I'm just gonna add a section here and a heading right here. All right. So we'll go like this, bump like that. And then we'll go heart attacks versus cardiac arrest. Yes, they're different. No, I don't want to sound like that. I want to say there are different responses. There are different responses. That's awkward. Um, let's just let them get it from, no, they need to get the detail, right? Uh, emergency, emergency responses differ. Better?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. And then we're gonna stick the picture in. Okay, all right. Here, what happens if I do this? I saved it already, but then it didn't let me save it. So let's see if this works. Save image as copy image. Okay, let's see if I can do that. Okay, all right. And then we quote Penn Medicine, which is, I find to be a really nifty thing about the internet these days. Because like, in a sense, all of it's public, and the citations are so ranging. It's really easy to give credit. And then it's
Yeah.
really awesome to share information, you know?
Yeah.
Heart attacks versus cardiac arrest, emergency responses differ. And I think, let's see here. I don't think I need to add the point here. Okay, all right. I'm getting distracted here. Okay, all right. Next one, we got stroke. Do you know what a stroke is?
Yes.
Okay, head or spine injury?
Yep.
Okay, good. What's one thing you're not supposed to do when somebody has a head or spine injury?
I don't know, but I know like what is it?
Don't move them unless you know what you're doing.
Oh yeah, like
Mm,
maybe like they'll be like more worse.
yep. There's like a lot of stuff on bleeding that I gotta kind of fill out too. There's so much stuff with bleeding. Oh my God. Okay. All right. We have second and third degree burns, right? And like one small point that I'll note here is that in my research on burns, I've learned that not only are there 1, 2, 3 different degrees of burns, there are also chemical burns, there are also electrical burns. And the craziest thing was for third degree burns, for first aid, there's really not much you can do.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's mostly like the same stuff where it's like make them comfortable, don't move them too much, don't stick anything on there, don't mess with it and just wait. Which is
I
super
know like
scary. Huh?
in our school like taught us like if you saw somebody like bleeding, you will see like how bloods that comes out. It'd be like you're just trying to find like a safe place if you're in like the emergency situations, like, oh, okay, like it's earthquake, it's something like tsunami, or like going outside and maybe it's your like Terminator outside.
Mm, mm.
And
Well,
yeah, you know, like that I just want to say like they taught us like the one way that we need to do is like just maybe like find a clean, maybe like a napkin. No, not a napkin, like maybe like feel like the maybe you can use your clothes to
mm,
like put it on the pain
mm.
and trying to stop the bleeding. Like maybe you push that and it will stop bleeding.
I like okay. That's good, right? Like you got your start of it. I'll tell you, I'll summarize it and then I'll show you the section here too, and we can
Like,
read part of it too to learn it. But like we'll start with the preface. It's that if this were quick and I didn't have that much time to like train you in first aid, here's what I would explain. I would say on bleeding. The first thing you want to do is if it's somebody else's blood, you're always going to want to cover your hands, right? Because you don't want to infect them and you don't want to get infected by them. Okay.
yeah.
All right. The next step after that is going to be where you have a few different levels of bleeding, right? So the first one is like you have surface level bleeding. You just say deal with it. It's fine, right?
Yeah.
The next level is going to be where you got subdermal tissue that's cut. So like the concept is that if you can seal the top with like a band-aid, but then the bottom part doesn't connect, right? Then that means that you need sutures or stitches, right? Because it's supposed to heal like it's better if it's together. Okay. All right. So
Yeah.
that would be your next level. The other one is that if you have bleeding though from the cut, understand that sutures is another category, right? Stitches is another one. It's that if you put pressure on the cut or wound and it stops bleeding, then that's great. You know, you've reached that level. Okay. The next one after that is going to be you put pressure on it, but it doesn't stop bleeding, right? That's where you need something called a tourniquet. And that's where you're like plugging up or tying off the flow, right? That's essentially,
Yeah.
increasing the pressure around your arm or leg or whatever you've seen the movies. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. All right. After that, if it's still, there's a bunch of details involved with the tourniquet, or else you risk like losing legs and arms and all that. But after the tourniquet, right? If you can't stop the bleeding after the tourniquet, I don't know what to do. I really don't know. Like it's like there's medicine, there's stuff you can do in a hospital at that point. But again, pretty limited what you can do for first aid when you've gotten to that point. Fair?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Let's see here. We got breathing difficulties, stopping breathing, block breathing passages, changes in breathing patterns, shortness of breath, hyperventilation, or choking. Do you know how to do the Heimlich maneuver?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah. Like using like maybe like space.
Yeah. Do you know how to do it yourself?
I just used to like do it my teacher at school, like when we have a test in my old school, like in
Yeah.
San Jose, and
Uh,
like, a little baby, like
you
a
can
doll.
you can essentially do the Heimlich maneuver on yourself with a chair, right? And so it's just the angle, the chair is stable, and you're pretty much doing the same thing as a Heimlich maneuver for someone else, but just yourself with a chair, right? You just got to get under and like right at that diaphragm, I suppose. There's pictures in this thing too. And then WikiHow has everything too with pictures. Okay, fainting, collapsing, blacking out, and loss of memory. I kind of put the loss of memory in there. I think that's got to go actually, right? Let's add sudden, and then that would be an emergency. Okay. All right. Seizures of varying types. I was watching something earlier today where this guy had seizures and autism, and then now he's a math savant. But that's not connected to medical emergencies. Okay, eye trauma or change in vision, shock, unusual behavior, confusion, difficulty awakening. There's so much. Sudden dizziness, weakness or fatigue, coughing, automating blood, smoke inhalation.
What like fatigue?
Fatigue is just extreme tiredness.
Oh,
Yeah. It's like you've been walking in the desert for 8 hours and sweating and there's no water and food and you're hot and
mhm,
yeah, that's fatigue. And then the next day you have fatigue. And the next day after that, you'll probably have fatigue too.
okay.
Okay. All right. Near drowning. My source here, I was confused on that. I think drowning is where you die from it. So near drowning would be almost drowning and dying, right? Okay. Ingesting or being exposed to a poisonous substance, poison, right? Severe abdominal pain or pressure, and then broken bones as the last one here. There are at least 9 other types of breaks beyond compound fractions. Like I only thought there were 2 different types of breaks, but I realized that there's a lot of other ones, right? Like those being, does it break? Does it shatter? Are there 3 pieces? Are there 2 pieces? How far are they apart? How close do you have to get them back together? It's like super complicated and scary. Okay.
Like key points is like don't move your arms and legs that broken when you got like the
Yes.
broken bone. Yeah,
Agreed.
because like
Yeah.
they will have like the bone, like bone fractions, like a little one that can cause you like really a bit hurt. No, it's not a bit, but it's really hurt
I
because
agree.
like your bones are like got into it will have like the fractions that the doctor needs to do with like the operations and suck it out, like the little fractions, because like it can cut your blood, like blood.
Oh my God. Yeah. Okay. All right. You're talking about the splinters and fragments of bone too, and like what the jagged things can do. And oh man, I'm thinking about like breaks in the tibia and fibia and the artery femoral artery getting affected. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. The other extension I'll share with you is that the takeaway points that were great for me, and I've kind of like been looking at a lot. Um, it's essentially where most of the research here pointed to the recovery process, which is going to be that, as you have an understanding of the different types of breaks, it should kind of help you with the way that you're splinting and so supporting stuff as you're healing out in the field or in an emergency. That's the thing that I found, which is pretty cool. Okay. All right. And I can't add this stuff here. It's already super long. This thing is like, look, it's like 7,000 words already. But I did have to make it like this so that it ended up just not being a bunch of links. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So if you know about all the emergencies here, then you can jump down to the checklist, extended links, and then extensive field manuals from the US military. So just for the sake of discussion here, it's going to be that, man, the checklists were crazy because I found one that's essentially all the general items that a hospital needs. And it's like almost 100 items, which is pretty cool. Right. And then more. It's like categories, 100 categories, And then we got to go into bleeding to follow up with what we were talking about before. Okay. CPR. You know how to do CPR. Okay. This is about how to do CPR from Wikipedia, WikiHow, and then I customized all that stuff. Let me see here. Burns, right? All the criteria with burns. Let me see
And
here.
you hear like the rating sound, like heavy rating sounds behind the background.
Not on my side. Is it your side?
Yeah, it is on my side. So does that
Oh,
do?
no, I don't
Is
hear
it
it that much. You're good. Yeah. Okay. Shock. What do you know about shock?
just like in the state that your body is like paralyzed, not for like temporary. It's like you're just like, oh.
That was good.
Your head.
No. It's good. Yeah, like I like how you try to build it. That's fine. This one here is going to be that I learned recently that a shock is essentially where you got a sudden drop of blood flow and the amount of oxygen in your limbs and body is lower, where so some parts or your organs aren't getting enough blood or oxygen, and then your body starts to shut down the superfluous processes, right? And then start going down to core processes to keep on running, So like imagine if you have like a space station, right? Where you have all of the functions, you have like the mini golf field, the garden, the greenhouse, everything, but then there's an emergency and then they shut down all the extra stuff. Okay. Okay. All right. And then the organs would represent your core systems, right? Like oxygen, probably gravity, water, filtration, that kind of thing. All right. Heat in space. All right. There's a bunch of symptoms, right? And that's essentially what doctors are learning to do, right? They're learning how to diagnose properly because there's definitely a probability associated with that, and that kind of connects with like AI diagnosis, those things there. And in the event of a disaster, access to a highly accurate AI diagnosis tool would really be awesome, right? Because like how are you supposed to figure out all of this stuff if it's cardiac arrest or a heart attack when the emergency is happening? Fair? Hello? Are you cutting out? Hello. Testing 1 2, testing 1 2. Can you hear me?
I can hear you like a little bit because like it's raining heavily outside.
Oh, okay. No problem. Okay, all right. So this one is poison. Then we got to go into the bleeding part. Okay, how to dress a wound. Okay, how to dress a wound. This is the one that I have to write here. Okay, but we're not going to write that right now. When to stop bleeding, how to stop bleeding. Okay, all right. Butterfly bandage. There's so much about bleeding. Oh my God. And then this is the one that you learned. Okay. Oh.
Are you like scared of blood?
Am I scared of blood? I can handle it. I can handle it really. What am I scared of in these kinds of scenarios? A person dying or messing up. I'd say that's what I'm most afraid of, right? I would say I mess up, make some kind of error, and then it hurts that person. And then I'd be really afraid of that person just, having some kind of serious injury. Those would be the things I'd be stressed out about. Yeah.
Oh, like I
I'd
used
be
to be
super
the
stressed.
one who's
Huh?
scared of blood. Like I really scared when
Oh, I'm
like
sorry about the picture then.
no. I mean like it's okay, but I mean like I'm chill with that because like as I used to told you like I used to have one of my friends that rolling a jacket to me, and like I've got like the inches here, and like there's a pain here and it's bleed and so much bleed, and after that I never scared of blood because of like I think like maybe I just thought like it would be more scary. But I don't like
Uh,
a huge pain that you can see like the bone.
yeah. Well, it seems like you're working through it well. I'm not an expert in this stuff here, but like what I just saw here is that it just looks like people can be afraid of it because of some trauma in the past. You saw a lot and then it's not as bad anymore for you. But I'd say that seeing blood is probably a similar fear response to that as like seeing somebody breathe hard because they're afraid. It's like,
I,
yeah, whoa, on a
I've got a lot.
biological level, huh?
My mom too. Like she's really scared of blood.
Yeah.
Like if it's like a small pain, she can handle with that. But I used to have like a pain in my leg, and I bleed so much because like at the day it's raining and like the floors are wet.
Hmm.
After the raining, like like in my old school, they have like a mate who clean like the floor after the rain.
Mm,
But I was so young, and like when you're young, you don't think anything about that. Just play with your friend. So I run to like the kinder to like maybe like the playgrounds that a lot of students there. But I can't see that it's like a little bit wet here on the floor as
yeah,
split.
yeah.
And yeah, I've got my like pain, like maybe like my left legs,
Mm.
and like it's bleed like so much, but it's healed already. And like at that time, my mom thought that maybe like I need to see like the doctor if like my bones are okay, if anything's are okay, because like I bleed so much. But the doctors just said like maybe like I'm fat at the time. Like my skins are like this is bone, and the layers around the bone is like maybe like the lipid layer. So the lipid layers help my bones.
Oh man, that must have been scary. That must have been super scary there.
Yeah.
And then that's a great way to like learn this keyword tourniquet right now. And I think that's really great. Sorry. Okay, so we have how to use a tourniquet, we have, let's go with the reading now again, okay? All right, so we have here, tourniquets are only applied on limbs, never on a neck.
Mhm.
Go ahead and read. Major bleeding.
Major bleeding control practice in areas not necessary by tourniquet. What is tourniquet?
Okay, the pronunciation here is like tourniquet, right? Tourniquet. So this QUETS just changed to kit, right? Changes to
It
kit.
like
Mhm.
yeah.
Yep, and then the NI
So
is knit. Mhm.
is tourniquet
Perfect.
like the stomach and back will be covered further at other time.
At another
With
time.
it out of the way, here are the steps of applying the tourniquet.
All right, so we got step one here is that this is a real tourniquet. And then, I like it just because the logic is pretty clear,
Yeah.
All right. Okay, cool. The image is, dude, the image is super important. Oh my God. Okay, all right. Here, wrap the limb
Put
with the
it
rope slash belt slash bra at least 2 inches closer to the body than the wound, right? 2 inches, that's about 5 centimeters, right? Do not apply a tourniquet over a joint-based passageway, over a joint, this is wrong. Okay. Over joint blood passageways. What in the world? This is definitely got to be fixed. Okay, do not apply a tourniquet over joints. Blood passageways are protected in joints, and you'll never put pressure on the arteries. Therefore, you'll continue bleeding, right? Therefore, the tourniquet will decrease bleeding. Okay, fixing some other person's writing. Okay, all right, here we go. Be nice. All right, okay, all right. Step two here. Go ahead.
Yep.
Place it.
Place it closer to the body than the joints. Then tie the tourniquet in place once using an overhand knot.
Oh man. Okay, hold on. Looks like I gotta. Okay. Oh man, knots. Right? Do you know the word knots? That's a knot. Yes. Overhead knot, and then we're just gonna hyperlink that for anybody there. Okay, just in case they don't know, because man, I'm a teacher, it's like, there's a lot of stuff that it's possible to not know. Okay,
Mhm.
my turn. Place your desired torsion device on top of the overhand knot. Oh my God, who's gonna know what a torsion device is? Tourniquet. No, wait. We gotta go with, What is a torsion device? How to make a tourniquet. Now, I want to know, I want something to go right to it. Oh my God, it's going to be faster just to write it. Okay, all right. Okay, all right. Your torsion device. The black rod in the image. Okay, better. All right. Of the overhand knot, tie another overhand knot and then another, and tie a square knot if you're not savvy to secure the torsion device onto the tourniquet. Right, that's not relevant. Okay. Okay, boom, done. All right, step 4, your turn.
Twist the torsion device in one direction until the bleeding stops.
Secure the tourniquet in place. This can often be accomplished by using loose ends from your last knot to tie one end of the torsion device to the tightened tourniquet, or to the limb.
And write the exact time the tourniquet has been applied.
Okay, right. That leads me to how long should you have a tourniquet on for? Looks like that one's going to be the one. I want to know the time. How long are you supposed to keep this thing on? And then when are you supposed to take it off? That seems to not be on the information. Procedure. Okay, it's going to be position, apply, tighten, removal. Okay, all right. A tourniquet should never be loosened or removed by anyone other than a doctor. Okay. Tourniquets can only be applied for certain periods of time, no longer it's 2 hours. Therefore, it'd be very important. Okay, all right, this is very important here. Okay, all right, let me see here. This is super important, oh my God. Okay, heading, removal of tourniquets. You could put it on and save their life and take it off and kill them.
I just
Oh,
feel
man.
like you can like not change like you like slash and then that headline and the things that you type after that return to the headline.
It's
It's
nice,
cool.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's where these kinds of embedded systems these days are super handy. They're everywhere, like on here, on Notion, lots of different things. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay. Removal of tourniquets and right legs. Right. The exact time. Okay, I get it. Oh, not all the quick keys work. Okay, here. Yeah, and remember, and there's like a dorky side in your that could totally be a writer someday too. Okay. I've been told that it is hard to make money doing it, but I don't know. I kind of disagree actually. But it's okay. All right. Let me see here. Removal of tourniquets. Remember. Remember. A tourniquet is a 2-hour solution. Okay. After that, one runs the risk of other complications such as infection, loss of limb or life, and loss of limb or life. This thing is lagging because it's too big. Okay, limb or life. Okay, all right. You should never remove a tourniquet unless you know exactly what you're going to do next. Refer to the field manual resources below and external links for what to do in the case a doctor is not around to remove the tourniquet. Okay, bump. Okay, all right, research to writing, and I think that this is good. All right, I'll read it to you, or do you want to read it to me?
I can read it for you if you want to.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Remember, a tourniquet is a 2-hour solution. After that, one runs the risk of other complications such as infection and loss of limb or life. You should never remove a tourniquet unless you know exactly what you are going to do next. Refer to the field manual resources below and external links for what to do in the case of doctor is not around to remove the tourniquet. Yay.
All right. That makes me think once you, I'm gonna add a sentence here. Think of it this way, of it this way, of it this way. Once you apply the tourniquet, tourniquets, torsion device. I just learned that. A 2-hour timer, a 120-minute timer starts. This makes it feel like a little bit more like scary to read, but it's kind of fun, I guess. Ish, right?
Mhm.
Okay, all right. Medical mag. Okay, all right. So that's where we conclude this segment here. And I'll thank you so much for everything that you added onto this thing. It was so good. Let me stop the recording here. Okay, bum, bum, and bum.